G'day guys, Justin here, and as I promised, I'm here with my Michael Jordan, LeBron James comparison, as you can see. Now, the first thing I want to preface this with is that what I am comparing here is purely their regular season at 1,072 games apiece. Great man here, greatest of all time, played 1,072 games, and this guy right here, well, he passed 1,072 games earlier in the year. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit skewed if you want to go and look at the numbers now. LeBron has obviously passed 1,072 games. But I think you'll find in this comparison that he may as well keep playing. He's got a fair way to go. And you're probably wondering why I've got this guy right here and this guy right here. We'll get to that at the end of the video. But as far as I can tell, we're pretty even. We're pretty right to go. So let's break it down. You'll find this comparison fairly deep. And as I mentioned, I'm only covering the regular season here. I'm not covering anything else. There are a few different accolades I throw in that may include the postseason, but they are more individual accolades for certain individual players rather than just comparing these two. So you won't hear anything about championships and finals MVPs and finals records to boot here. Anyway, let's get into it and see what we've got. So obviously we're comparing Michael Jeffrey Jordan and LeBron James. Both at the time have played 1,072 games. LeBron, however, having played 677 more minutes. Michael managed 41,011 minutes regular season for his career. Meanwhile, LeBron had 41,688 at the time. So obviously LeBron with more minutes, but I mean, wow, he should, well, it's a lot of minutes. I mean, that's over 10. Geez, that's well over 15, 16 full NBA games. Surely he's blown him apart. Far from it. Points at 1,072 games. Again, remember, this is at 1,072 games apiece. Michael with 32,292 compared to LeBron's 29,105. So as far as bulk points, we're looking at Michael Jordan there. Also, shots made, a pretty big differential, almost 1,600 shots difference here. So Michael with 12,192 made shots compared to LeBron's 10,548 made shots. Now, the missed shots, as you can imagine, Michael taking more, probably going to miss more as well. I mean, that's a factor. The 12,345 missed shots. I mean, how much more perfect can you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Compared to LeBron at 10,464, which also improves his field goal percentage. LeBron with 50.2% field goal compared to Michael's 49.7 at the time. But to really break that down, that also shows Michael's more urgency to attack and score and ultimately lead the team. There's a lot of argument about, throwing assists and throwing rebounds. Well, I'd prefer a guy who's going to come down, he's going to score the ball, and he's going to take the team on his shoulders. Sure, you might have your, quote, team on the shoulders by grabbing rebounds and assists, but really? Do I want a guy who's going to come out and lead my team in assists and lead my team in rebounds and lead me to a championship? If that was the case, Mark Jackson and Dennis Rodman would be 2 of the 10 greatest players all time, period. It's not the case. As far as two-point shootings, mate, everyone makes a big deal about, LeBron's such a great two-point shooter. And, his field goal's tremendous. Yeah, but he was well and truly behind Michael in this category. For two-point shots made, Michael had 11,611 compared to LeBron's 9,065. So over almost 2,500 difference plus there just in the two-point shots made. When we go to two-point shots missed, again, Michael took more, he did miss more, 11,148, compared to LeBron sitting at 7,609. Now, you can look at that at efficiency. You can also look at that as selectiveness. I mean, there have been many examples over the years of LeBron not being able to take jump shots and in crucial moments of his career being forced to take jump shots, and he simply doesn't because he can't make them. He's pretty much a typical, as far as scorings, he's a typical little kid. 10, 11 years old who sort of hasn't really mastered much of the game. He either shoots a three ball or he's going to hit a layup. He's a typical recreational child basketballer in that sense. Now, two-point field goal percent, again, the differential obviously screams that LeBron's going to lead this, and he does. 51% MJ and 54.4 to LeBron. Again, selectiveness there to LeBron, but certainly no scoff at MJ. You've made more than you've missed, which is, certainly better than what his field goal percentage says. So that's pretty good. Now, three-point shots made, we do need to understand LeBron lives in the three-point bomb era. It's plain and simple. So Michael with only 581 made three-pointers in comparison to LeBron's 1,483. And three-point shots missed, though, I do have to give credit here to Michael having only missed 1,197. Obviously didn't take as many because that's what the game didn't require back then. You obviously had to drive to the hoop and score and get through defenses. LeBron with 2,855 missed three-point shots. But obviously when you look at the differential and the percentile comparison, Michael shot 32.7% from deep, and everyone must be thinking, oh, well, LeBron, oh, look at that. Only 34.2%. So a difference of 1.5%, the three-point shooting percentages, which again screams to me that really there's a very good case that Michael is just as good a three-point shooter as LeBron James. Obviously, the numbers don't show it. I mean, if you want to double that there, what's that? Michael to 1,162 and 2,000, say 2,400 missed. Doesn't look that great, but I mean, really, it's not that much difference. 1.2%, 1.5% is a fair difference when you look at everything. But I mean, for the time period of the game, I mean, Michael was just as good a three-point shooter. So where's really the comparison there? We've clearly gone through this. So this is just basic scoring from the field. As far as 2-point and 3-point field goals are concerned and percentages are concerned, Michael was by far the better scorer. And it's not just to do with he took more shots, because if it was a matter of going on about, oh, well, and this is a narrative that's used on, oh, Michael scores more because he takes more shots. Okay. So by your argument of LeBron being a better three-point shooter, then isn't he simply a better three-point shooter because he chooses to shoot more? And as Michael said in a famous playoff series, which I don't need to name, he said it's not that player A is a better three-point shooter than me, it's that I choose not to take the three-point shot. I mean, based on those averages and those numbers there, I mean, it's pretty simple. 2 was much more efficient to score than 3. And secondly, he proved it when he took the three-point shot. He was a good three-point shooter. Wasn't a great, he was a good three-point shooter. Very similar to LeBron. I wouldn't put LeBron in the elite three-point shooting category. It's just that simple. Now we come to the free throws. Now, this is something that a lot of people argue about, how Michael's a superstar and, they don't call anything these days. Well, let's have a look at it. As far as free throws are made, Michael made 7,327 free throws compared to LeBron's 6,526. Okay, so that's 800 more free throws. That's an easy number to look at. Now we look at the missed free throw opportunities. 1,145 missed to Michael, whereas over 2,000 to LeBron. 2,288 missed free throw shots. Now, just to have a quick glance at the numbers there, Michael sits at 8,000. This is attempts, mind you. Michael sits at 8,772 compared to LeBron, who's at 8,814. So LeBron's actually taken more free throws. The whole argument there of, oh my God, now mind you, and he also played more minutes, so this is ludicrous. So the fact that people can scream that Michael gets and LeBron doesn't get calls, LeBron got more calls than Michael. And the numbers are there. He wasn't a good free throw shooter. He isn't a good free throw shooter. Michael at 83.5%, you expect most players in the NBA, guards particularly, to shoot over 80%, shot 83.5. I mean, everyone goes, oh, LeBron's a forward. LeBron's constantly getting to the cup and he's getting the calls. He can't shoot free throws. It's that simple. And, I mean, it's evident right there. So, really, scoring just on totals alone is Michael. And there's no differentiator in any category scoring-wise for Michael. It's just plain and simple. As moving to the rebounds, rebounding is easy to break down. Now, total rebounds goes to LeBron at 7,788. And when you look at it, Michael has 6,672. Defensive rebounds, Michael has a touch over 5,000, 5,004. And LeBron's sitting at 6,485. Now, here's the question I have for you. Would you prefer your guy to be grabbing defensive rebounds or playing defense? I mean, just to look at those numbers there, that's 1,481 more rebounds. It's quite a lot. I mean, when you look at it, that's huge. That's a huge number. That's over 20% of Michael's career rebounds there, which is, it's a good number. Fair enough. He does rebound the ball more. But is he a better rebounder? Not necessarily. Let's look at the offensive rebounds. I mean, we all know how hard offensive rebounds are to get because, I mean, particularly in today's game, everyone's chasing those rebound numbers for that elusive triple-double. Offensive rebounds, we have Michael at 1,668 and LeBron at 1,303. But surely the great LeBron James has more rebounds than the great Michael Jeffrey Jordan. It's not necessarily the case. As far as in totality of rebounding numbers, yes, LeBron has him. But offensive rebounds and possessions are a hell of a lot more crucial than letting a shot go up. I mean, that just screams the effort on defense is obviously there from Michael, not as much LeBron. So I'll let you guys make up your decision on rebounding. I mean, in totality, yes, LeBron has more rebounds. But the better offensive rebounder, which is half a key when rebounding, was Michael Jordan. I mean, toss a coin. I'd go as far to say it's a tie. I can't necessarily give it straight to LeBron based on the fact that he, was clearly out-rebounded offensively. And many people go, oh, it's not that many. Really? Yeah, that's offensive rebound-wise, that's a lot. I mean, that's almost, 25% more career offensive rebounds of LeBron's that Michael has. That's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. So, yeah, I'll toss a coin there. I mean, we'll get further into this comparison and we'll see exactly who we probably would take as far as rebounding is concerned at their peak value. But, I mean, on totality, toss a coin. As we go to the assist numbers, obviously LeBron was more of a facilitator throughout his career, was more consistently relied on to facilitate. But again, as I mentioned, you really want a guy leading your team by facilitating the ball. Mark Jackson, the top 10 player of all time. That's my question for you. So assists, Michael has 5,633 compared to LeBron's 7,561. It's almost a 2,000 difference there. And I mean, it would have to be over 2,000 difference now. But again, you've got to look at the way they're assisting the ball. I mean, recently, obviously, this is a dated comparison compared to the article that's just come out. LeBron's teammates have come out and said that he looks for an assist pass. Now, looking for an assist pass and looking for an effective assist is different. If you collapse the D, in a 3-on-1 situation and you kick it out to a shooter, or it gives you enough time for a cutter to come through and, make the pass for an effective assist where you weren't going to score, that's an effective assist. Standing at the top of the three and watching someone come off the screen, stand there, and you just make a basic chest pass. It's not an assist, that's a pass. Goes down as an assist. You didn't assist, they did all the work. They cut hard, they come off the screen. You simply held the ball. They're the ones that made the play, not you. But again, totality in numbers, if you want to go on totality of numbers, obviously you're probably going to take LeBron. But, I mean, let's wait to the peak and let's see what happens. Defense is a joke. And, again, this is something I want to point out as to why Michael's rebounding numbers certainly probably matter a hell of a lot more than LeBron's. And that's the defensive numbers in this comparison. Total steals, 2,514 compared to LeBron's 1,765. Hell of a lot. That's over almost a third of Michael's career total steals difference to LeBron. Nearly an 800 difference. That's big. 750, but I mean 800 difference. That's huge. It's massive. So, I mean, it's totally up to you how you want to rank the rebounds, but when you take into effect that steals numbers are better, so again, he's playing more on ball and sticking to his opponent. But as far as, gaining those defensive rebounds, he's not obviously effective at the rim because when it comes to shot blocking, Michael has 893 shots blocked to LeBron's 830. So all this swallowing up, he's swallowing up rebounds. Oh, he's a defensive menace on the glass. Great. Guess what? He's not as good a rim protector. So how can you quantify better rebounding when it's evident that he's lacking defensively to grab those rebounds? That's evidence. That's proof right there. Again, that's just me. I think people really need to look at that and understand that in comparing these numbers, you need to look at what they affect as well. And I mean, his rebound numbers are obviously the reason his defensive numbers are lacking. I mean, there's your proof in the pudding now. I mean, you can all visually watch it. But if you just want to be reassured, again, at 1,072 games, Michael Jordan, 2,514 steals. LeBron James, 1,765. And I must remind you that all these numbers for LeBron were at the point that he completed his 1,072nd game. That's just how it is. So again, steals 2,514 compared to LeBron, or 1,765. He's a better on-ball defender, and he's more relied upon to stick to his man. Shot blocking, again, LeBron's this great defensive rebounder. Surely he's under the glass protecting the rim. Michael has 893 blocks. LeBron has 830. Comparison over right there. So at the moment, we've got better scoring for Michael, really better rebounding. And you look at it, the effectiveness of the rebounds. Passing bulk numbers, okay, so you're going to give passing bulk numbers to LeBron. Again, you want Mark Jackson to be a top 10 player of all time. That's all good for you. And when you look at defense, there's no comparison. The only thing that LeBron has is bulk assist numbers at the moment. But we'll get to that. That's another thing. You want to look at usage rate. Oh, well, LeBron uses the ball more. So, it goes on, oh, he's got lots of assists. Okay, well, he's got more turnovers too. Michael's sitting at 2,924 career turnovers compared to LeBron at the time at 3,665. It's a turnover machine. So you want to scream efficiency as well. Obviously, his scoring is great, but again, it's this overly selective shot taking. It's the over-selective defensive numbers that are played. It's the selective passing that's made and risking, getting a quality rebound over stealing a rebound. I mean, imagine if this guy actually played not for stats. His turnover numbers would be huge. He'd probably be one of the honestly, he'd almost be setting the record for career turnovers, which is a scary thought. You want to look at the foul calling. Here's another one where you want to look at preferential treatment. So we all talk about how, Michael, he got to the line all the time. And, we just busted that myth there with the free throws. But, let's look at the fouls. Michael Jordan with over 2,700 career fouls at 2,783, compared to LeBron, who only at the time had 1,996. How can you regard preferential treatment to Michael Jordan when you've had less fouls called on you and you've had more free throw attempts in the same amount of time? In a more physical era where Michael played, how do you quantify that? Should have been more fouls. Should have been fouls galore. Should have been fouls galore, and he should have had thousands upon thousands of free throw attempts. He should have had 10,000 free throw attempts. How does that work? Ridiculous stuff. Dead set ridiculous. Again, just to reiterate, the free throws in comparison were about, what was it for Michael? 8,772. LeBron, 8,814. And he has less fouls called on him. Someone please explain to me again where Michael's preferential treatment came from. So now let's go to the averages. Averages should scream, shouldn't they? 30.1 points per game. If you want to be technical, 30.12. The highest points per game average in league history, more than the likes of Wilt Chamberlain, 7-time scoring champion, Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, George Gervin, 4-time scoring champions. Guys like Kareem, who at their peak were averaging 35 a game. Well, average more than them. It's pretty impressive. In saying that, LeBron James at 27.2, I believe, is third in points per game. So there's no show away. That's just how far and away a better scorer Michael was. And again, as you go and look at the numbers, in totality, he was an all-around better scorer. So that everyone goes, but it's only 3 points or 2.9 points. Hell of a lot when you total it up. As I mentioned, when you go back and look at the differential in the games, it was well over 3,000 more points. But again, it's only 3 points. Yeah, it's 3,000 points over that time period. It's a lot. Rebounding, again, as we mentioned, LeBron has better bulk rebounding numbers and 1.2 more rebounds. Again, as you mentioned, that's a lot of rebounds over time. But again, it's the way in which these rebounds have occurred. We've pointed this out, and it's quite evident. This is where he leaves a lot of defensive numbers on the table. There we go. Offensive rebounds per game. Again, no comparison. Michael, 1.6. LeBron, 1.2. Defensive rebounds. Again, this is where the numbers come into account. 4.7 defensive rebounds for Michael. That's great, but his defensive numbers and steals are higher, and he has more totality career blocks at this point. Now, blocks per game average out at 0.8 each, but still, that's because the number's so desperately close in totality compared to games played. But I mean, as you can see, that's, reasonably big number when you look at how many seasons LeBron played. 15 seasons, and you're, 60, 70 blocks behind him? It's a lot. It's a lot to leave on the table when you want to look at it over that career. So again, defensive rebounds per game, you think his block numbers are a hell of a lot higher. 4.7 to 6 in LeBron's favour. Again, the passing, bulk numbers, again, sit with LeBron at 7.1 to 5.3 to Michael. But again, we'll look at the peak numbers. And you have to remember that this guy looks for the assist. His teammates have said that. He willingly looks for an assist pass. He doesn't make a pass that assists on the score. He just looks for a pass that counts as an assist. Big difference. Steals per game, 2.3 to 1.6. That's a decent differential. And blocks, as I mentioned, 0.8 apiece. But you'd think for a guy with so many high rebounding numbers defensively that, he'd be this great rim protector. No, it's not the case. Turnovers per game, Michael with less turnovers at 2.7 compared to LeBron at 3.4. Again, for a guy who's very selective with his possession and his passing, he's certainly not as efficient as what people claim him to be. Fouls per game, I mentioned that. For a guy who has more free throw attempts for his career and has less fouls per game than Michael Jordan, the preferential treatment even came to LeBron. 2.6 fouls to Michael and 1.9 to LeBron. Minutes per game, this is another thing we need to look at. 38.3 to 38.9. So it's 36 more seconds on average per game, but the error is nowhere near as physical. And the rule changes say that hand checking, clarified blocking fouls to open up the game is actually in the rule book in the changes and interpretations. So again, that's all well and good, but remember, 36 more seconds and he's so far behind. The guy who's played, 36 more seconds in a hell of a lot easier error and takes more games off. Now let's look at their single season bests. This is totality and averages amongst all this. Points. 3,041 to Michael. One of only two players to ever crack 3,000 regular season points. The other guy was Wilt Chamberlain. He wasn't too bad of a player either. Now, LeBron, pedestrian, 24.78. I mean, not pedestrian in the sense, but when you look at how many guys have won scoring titles and what they've averaged, that's, it's a general. If you're going to win a scoring title, you've got to put that up. That's why he's won one. The other guy won 10. You don't worry about that. So that's all right. So regular season points, that goes to, it's quite simple, that goes to Michael Jordan. Field goal percentage. Now, you'll notice in some of these I mentioned the games played. That's usually because they played a minimum amount of games and then the maximum amount of games to which they played to get that record. So Michael's field goal percentage was 53.9%. Now, mind you, he was scoring well and truly over 30 points a game when he was doing this. And LeBron James, when we look at it, 59.8%. That was the first 11 games of the season to which he played this year. Not a high scoring number, though. Minimal amount of shots, So not a high, an averaging 34, 35 a game when he was putting that up. Which you'd expect, because it's great LeBron James, he's making all these shots. No, he's just taking a selective amount of shots. Simple. Doesn't have that intent to take over the game. And career high of 56.7 for a full-ish season, as in 77 games. Again, didn't crack the 30-point per game mark on that one, though. Now, a 2-point field goal percentage. Again, LeBron always going to do this with selective shooting. But again, Michael with 55.3. That's very, very admirable. For anyone with a 2-point field goal percentage, that's what Wilt was putting up, and he was putting up ridiculous numbers. LeBron, again, at 65.7 over the first 11 games of this year. And 61.1% the 74 games that he played in a particular season. But again, not putting up tremendous high-scoring numbers with it. Goes on about how he could, take 30 shots and score 60 points. Not the case. He'd barely take 15 shots and put up 30. My goodness. 3-point field goal percentage. And this is going to scare the shit out of everyone. Because again, as we mentioned, clearly a better 2-point scorer in the bulk. And I mean, peak possession, when you want to argue, at the very peak, LeBron was a better 2-point scorer. LeBron was also more selective. Didn't have that drive and intention to score and win games. 3-point field goal percentage. Well, LeBron, 40.6% at his peak. I can't remember which season it is, but the absolute peak was 40.6%. It's great. Now we look at Michael. Now, mind you, I will only mention the games if it was a season, if there's two different. So, I mean, like that 65.7% was only over 11 games for LeBron, the 2-point field goal percentage. But the 61.1% was on, in a fullish season at 74 games. So Michael shot 50% from the three-point line in 17 games in his return in, I believe it was 94-5. Pretty impressive. Bad for a guy who wasn't a three-point shooter. Then for a full season, shot 42.7%, an 82-game season. LeBron, in any season he's played, has only ever shot 40.6%. So at a single season peak, if I want a three-point shooter, I'm going to take Michael Jordan. Plain and simple. If I want points, and I mean, in today's game, Christ, if it was a three-point shooting comp, the ability Michael had to get open, done. Easily 3,000 points. Would be stupid. He'd be near 4,000 points. He'd be nearly doing what Wilt did. Scary thought, isn't it, considering, Michael has the highest points per game average since the lane got wide in the 16 feet. Just saying. Now, free throw percentage. Oh, the great LeBron, though. He gets to the line more, and he gets more preferential treatment for not giving calls away. That didn't mean anything. LeBron, the first 11 games of the season, pretty admirable, 83.9%. Only 78% in an 81-game season, though. Free throw percentage peak for Michael's career, 85.7%. I'd rather be efficient at the free throw line than, have to be selective and efficient out in the field, which Michael understood that, he could get fouled and go to the line, and that's fine. Now, here's the argument for rebounding. This is, again, something that is sorely lost on a lot of people. And, again, the argument for assists. This is their absolute peak totals. For total rebounding, LeBron's highest total is 639 for any season, and Michael at 652. Offensively, in the rebounding department, LeBron never got any higher than 133 in a season. Michael at 167. Now, defensive rebound numbers, Michael at 503, LeBron at 542. But to sacrifice 39 rebounds or, just under half a rebound a game defensively to be a better defender, and that's all you've got to do? Peak scoring, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Peak rebounding, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. And let's look at the assists because, let's, as we mentioned about LeBron, always looking for that, assist pass. Okay, 651 was his peak assist. Michael at 650. One assist shy of a guy who actually looks to make an assist. So at their absolute peak, scoring, rebounding, and distributing the basketball, Michael Jordan leads all three. When you take into account, he had one more assist. Great. Guess what? I'm going to take the risk of a guy making a pass to make another pass than I am a guy who's going to sit there and wait for another guy to curl off a screen or, stand in the open. He just makes a basic pass. Than a guy who's willingly going to drive the lane, draw two or three defenders at any one time, and have to kick out, otherwise he can't score. LeBron drops the shoulder and barges through all he wants. But points, scoring, rebounding, and distributing the basketball at their peak, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Steals and blocks, again, it's not even a question. LeBron's never had a season of 100 blocks, and I think Michael had two of them. He's the only guy with back-to-back 200, 100 seasons, I'm pretty sure. Hakeem being the only guy, I think, with a 200 season. But 131 shot blocks in one particular season for Michael, and only 93 for LeBron. But remember, he's this great defensive rebounder who should be standing at the rim and blocking all these shots, and he's not. Steals on ball, not even a question, 259 to 177. It's ridiculous. We'll go through and just look at how many times these guys performed or got close to these feats during their season, during the year. Now let's look at the foul count. The very least amount of fouls that Michael ever gave away was 46 in 18 games. And I do believe that was when he came off his foot injury in 85-6. And at his very peak, committed 119 fouls in what was a 60-game season. I'm trying to think. I believe that was the Wizards. Or is that the least? That might be the least he's ever committed. The least amount of fouls ever committed. So 46 in an 18-game season, 119 in the 60-game season, the Wizards. LeBron had 19 fouls in 11 games start of this year. Less than 2 a game. He then, in a 62-game lockout season, only had 96 fouls again. Less than 2 a game. Significantly. Obviously, 119 by 60 is, 1.999 whatever. Practically 2 a game. When you want to look at fouls, over 2 a game there, just on a minimum of 18 games. Where's this preferential treatment that all you guys are claiming Michael ever got? Load of crap. When we look at turnovers, Michael clearly more efficient with the ball, considering the guy who he's been compared to looks for the assists and he's so restrictive in his scoring and everything else to keep those numbers looking good. 35 turnovers in 17 games, 94-5, and 162 turnovers in the 60-game season with the Wizards. 46 turnovers in 11 games for LeBron James at the start of this season. Yes, that's right. His very best, minimum number of turnovers at the time of the comparison, he was doing it 4 a game. Michael, just over 2. Then you want to look at the amount of peak. 162 at 60. About 2.2, about 2.6. Then 213 to 62 at 62 games for LeBron. Or over 3, almost 3.5 a game. Not bad for a guy who's clearly, more efficient and gets less preferential treatment. Now we look at the games played. At no point has LeBron James played an 82-game season. He came close, 81 games, and he did that once. That was it. Michael went a full season 9 times. 82 games, 9 times. When we look at the minutes played, this shows, obviously, in a weaker era, he should have a few more minutes. But only 77 more minutes in one of them particular seasons. 3,311 for Michael, 3,388 for LeBron. 77 more minutes. It's a game and a half of extra basketball. Where are these fantastic numbers? Let's have a look at their absolute peak. Peak points per game. Michael Jordan, 37.1. LeBron James, 30. 7 more points a game. I'll risk the field goal percentage to get those points up. Rebounds per game. Now, 8 to 8.6 in comparison to a guy who searches for rebounding numbers. 0.6 less of a rebound. My goodness. The defensive numbers should be ridiculous, shouldn't they? Oh, they've great defensive rebounds. He should have good defensive numbers as well. Whoa. Let's have a look. Offensive rebounds. Jordan, 2 a game. To 1.8, LeBron. 2 offensive rebounds a game. While you're standing legitimately 3 to 4 inches smaller than a dude, and you're not chasing rebounds. And he played in a taller era. Ridiculous. Defensive rebounds per game, 6.2 to Michael, 7.3 to LeBron. Great. But again, we need to look at the defensive numbers. You look at assists per game, 8.0 assists per game to Michael. 9.1 through 11 games this year for LeBron, and 8.7 through 74 games for LeBron in another particular season. But remember, in totality of assists, it was 39 more. In rebounds per game, where it's 8.6, it was 1 more. It's dumb. It's just dumb to suggest. And then we go and look at the defensive numbers. Steals per game. Michael had a season of 3.2 steals. LeBron, 2.2. Oh, lovely. Blocks per game, 1.6. Mind you, 3.2 and the 1.6 were either in the same year or back-to-back. That's to see how his absolute peak was like. Blocks per game, 1.2 through 11 games. That's great. Better. When you get those defensive rebounds, you want to be shot blocking. And 1.1. 1.1 was the most he ever put up. I believe that was in the 74-game season. For some reason I got 84 down. I doubt it. With the 62 or the 74-game season, he had 1.1. But he's just better defensive rebounder. How? He's not influencing shots. Be more scared of Michael Jordan at the rim than I would be LeBron James. I tell you that now. Fouls per game, 1.8 at their very minimum. It's nearly 2 a game for Jordan and under 1.5 a game for LeBron at 1.4. There's that preferential treatment for you. Turnovers per game, Michael with only 2 a game at their peak. LeBron at 3 a game. Just dumb. Absolutely dumb. Oh, that's at the minimum, mind you. The very minimum he's ever turned the ball over is 3 times a game. Just saying. Minutes played, 42.5. Again, as I mentioned, with those minutes played. Michael's still with 40 minutes a game, with the ability to put 37 in the hoop, over 53%. It's not bad. Certainly take that. So as we summarise the comparison so far in total categories, we have 29 categories to Michael and 27 to LeBron. But as I've broken those numbers down, that's a compliment, that 27, because it is nowhere near close. It's ridiculously nowhere near close. But, I mean, that's how people feel. Now, look at their total season records, and we'll get a good comparison here. Both played 15 seasons at this point. Remember, LeBron. This includes the 11 games for LeBron. It also includes the 18 and 17 games that Michael had played in those injured periods and retired periods for the Bulls. Michael played less than 60 games twice, as I mentioned, and once to LeBron, obviously meaning that he played 60 games or more 13 times to Michael and 14 times to LeBron. That's impressive. Here's where it goes downhill very quickly. Both played 70 games or more 12 times. Fair enough. 80 games or more 11 times to Michael. A more durable athlete while doing more on the court. 2 to LeBron. Never played a full season, LeBron. Michael played 9. There you go. Now, minutes-wise. Both players have had seasons under 2,000 minutes. Michael with 2, LeBron with 1. Meaning 13 seasons over 2,000 for Michael, 14 over 2,000 for LeBron. 2,500 or more minutes, 12 each. 3,000 minutes or more, 12 to Michael, 7 to LeBron. The rest of it's pretty simple. Time scored under 1,500 points, only once to LeBron. It's pretty impressive. Not bad. Mind you, Jordan had how many seasons? 2 seasons where he was out for less than 20 when he played less than 20 games. Shit. So under 1,500 points, 3 to Michael, 1 to LeBron. And obviously more seasons of 1,500 points or more. Seasons of 2,000 points or more. 11 to Michael, 9 to LeBron. Seasons of 2,500 points or more. 6 to Michael, none to LeBron. And 1 season of 3,000 points or more to Michael. And no seasons, obviously, 3,000 points to LeBron. Here we go, the 2-point shot making. Got a better 2-point field goal percentage. You'd have to imagine he's pouring all these great 2-point games in. Very far from the truth. Under 500 2-pointers made. 2 seasons to Michael, 1 to LeBron. Obviously, 500 2-pointers made or more, 13 and 4 in LeBron's favour. 600 2-pointers made, 12, 11 Michael. 700 2-pointers made, 11-1 to Michael. 800 3-pointers made, 11 none to Michael. 900 2-pointers made, 7 to none Michael. And 1,000 2-point shots made or more, 2-0 Michael. But just remember, he doesn't stat pad. LeBron has never stat padded. I mean, it's evident with all those goose eggs he's laid in that 800, 900, and 1,000 2-point made column. Never stat padded. Seriously, check it out. It's dumb. How can a guy who's pouring in this high efficiency from 2-point land be worried about making assists or getting assists or grabbing rebounds when the other guy didn't worry about it, did it naturally, and still poured in this kind of production? On the offensive end, mind you, especially with those offensive rebounds. Don't forget about those. Now, 3-point shooting, you have to expect this to go to LeBron, and obviously it happens. Under 50 3-pointers made, 11 seasons to Michael, only 1 to LeBron. So 4 seasons of 50 or more threes made. And 14-4 to LeBron. 75 three-pointers made, 413 LeBron. 100 three-pointers made, 9-2 LeBron. 125 three-pointers made, 3-0 LeBron. Again, three-point shots need to be made. But, I mean, as we mentioned, Michael played an era where, A, you didn't need to shoot the three-point shot, and B, had he chosen to shoot the three-point shot, probably would be a big, big difference in them categories alone. 200 free throws made. This guy gets to the line a hell of a lot more. LeBron James, he's getting to that line more. I've proven that. Got to have a hell of a lot more free throw makes. Under 200 free throws made. One season to LeBron, which is impressive. So 1, 2 in LeBron's favour. You know, less is more in this particular category. That's where it stops. 200 free throws made or more, 13 for LeBron. 400 free throws made, 11-9 Michael. 600 free throws made, 4-1 Michael. 800 free throws made, 1-0 Michael. And he got to the line less. Screams efficiency. Here we go. Under 125 rebounds. Seasons under 125 rebounds, 2 to Michael, 1 to LeBron. So again, in these under categories, more is less. So LeBron, great. 125 rebounds or more, 14-13 LeBron. 250 rebounds or more, 14-13 LeBron. This is where people need to wake up. There isn't that much of a difference. 250 rebounds, as I said, 13-4. 375 rebounds or more, 14-12 LeBron. 500 rebounds or more, 11-6 LeBron. 625 rebounds or more, equal at 1 apiece. So there's your rebounding argument out the door. Here's offensive rebounds. Under 50 offensive rebounds in a season, 1-2 LeBron. 50 offensive rebounds or more, 14-13 LeBron. 75 offensive rebounds or more, 12-11 LeBron. 100 offensive rebounds or more, 10-4 Michael. 125 offensive rebounds or more, 8-1 Michael. 150 offensive rebounds or more, 2-0 Michael. Here we go. Defensive rebounds. Under 100 defensive rebounds, 1-2 LeBron. 100 defensive rebounds or more, 14-13 LeBron. Sorry, 100 defensive rebounds or more, 14-13 LeBron. 200 defensive rebounds or more, 14-13 LeBron. 300 defensive rebounds or more, 14-11 LeBron. 400 defensive rebounds or more, 11-4 LeBron. And here's where it starts to drop. 500 defensive rebounds or more, 4-1 LeBron. Not as consistent as people would like to think. Now let's look. Here's the assist numbers. But remember what their peak were, what their peak assist numbers were, and to which amount LeBron searches for the assist. So under 100 assists, 0-2 LeBron. 100 assists or more, 15-13 LeBron. 200 assists or more, 14-13 LeBron. 300 assists or more, 14-12 LeBron. 400 assists or more, 13-7 LeBron. 500 assists or more, 10-2 LeBron. 600 assists or more, 2-1 LeBron. Blowing him away in many categories that he holds the totality in points in, is he? Look at the roles they played on their teams. Under 100 steals or more, 2-3 Michael. 2-3 LeBron. 100 steals or more, 13-12 LeBron. 125 steals or more, 11-7 Michael. 150 steals or more, 9-1 Michael. 175 steals or more, 9-0 Michael. 200 steals or more. This is total seasons this happened. 200 steals or more, 6-0 Michael. 225 steals or more, 4-0 Michael. And seasons of 250 steals or more, 1-0 Michael. Remember those great defensive rebound numbers that he had? Let's see how they transfer into the blocks. 125 blocks of the season, tied at 2 apiece, so therefore 25 blocks or more, tied apiece at 13. 50 blocks or more, 10-8 LeBron. 75 blocks or more, 4-3 Michael. 100 blocks or more, 2-0 Michael. There's a bit of defensive rebound to LeBron, so we should have those numbers up, bro. Work it out. Turnovers. This is over. LeBron's got better, more efficient. Under 150 turnovers, 2-0 Michael, 150 turnovers or more. 13-15 Michael. Now, mind you, less turnovers is more. This is what I'm trying to get out here. For 150 turnovers or more, 13-15 Michael. 175 turnovers or more, 10-14 Michael. 200 turnovers or more, 8-14 Michael. 225 turnovers or more, 5-13 Michael. 250 turnovers or more, 4-10 Michael. 275 turnovers or more, 2 apiece. And seasons of 300 turnovers or more, 0-1 Michael. So that 15, 14, 14, 13, and 10 you heard are how many seasons where LeBron has had those numbers of turnovers or more. So many seasons. 10 seasons of 250 turnovers. That's over 3 a game. He's done it 10 times. Fouls, under 100 fouls. Now, this is where you need to really pay attention to it. Really, really pay attention to it. Under 100 fouls and 100 fouls or more, they're tied at 2 apiece and 13 apiece. Now, let's look at seasons of 150 fouls or more, and let's really check it out. 150 fouls or more, 4-12 LeBron. Michael has 3 times the amount of seasons in which he was fouled for, with all his great preferential treatment he received. 200 fouls or more, 0-7 LeBron. He's never had a season where he's recorded 200 fouls, and obviously seasons of 250 fouls or more, 2-zip, LeBron's favour there. How can people argue the preferential treatment that Michael Jordan apparently had here? This is ridiculous. Now, let's look at the total update there. Now, the categories obviously scream a fair bit to where LeBron had some favouritism. So it's now 62-69 LeBron's favour, which is very generous when after you break down these numbers and what they're really like. Per game records. Under 35 minutes a game. LeBron's never had a season. Michael's had 2, again, injured and retired. 35 minutes a game or more. 15-13 LeBron. 37.5 minutes a game or more. 13-12 LeBron. 40 minutes a game. 4-3 LeBron. And seasons of 42.5 minutes a game. 1-0 LeBron. Expected in a less physical and softer era. Points per game. Here we go. Seasons under 22.5 points per game, 1 each, which means a season of 22.5 points a game are 14 each. Seasons of 25 points per game or more, 14-12 LeBron. Seasons of 27.5 points per game or more, 11-5 Michael, 30 points per game or more, 8-1 Michael, 32.5 points per game or more, 5-0 Michael, and Michael had 2 seasons of 35 points per game or more compared to LeBron, who laid a giant goose egg. Now, obviously, as I mentioned with the rebounding numbers, when you take them into perspective, they're not as impressive. However, seasons under 5.5 rebounds a game. Michael had 2, LeBron never had 1. 5.5 rebounds per game, 15-13 LeBron. 6 rebounds per game or more, 14-9 LeBron. 6.5 rebounds per game or more, 13-6 LeBron. 7 rebounds per game or more, 11-1 LeBron. 7.5 rebounds per game or more, 7-1 LeBron. 8 rebounds per game or more, 2-1 to LeBron. And LeBron has a season of 8.5 rebounds per game or more compared to Michael's none. But let's look at the offensive rebounds. Seasons under 1 offensive rebound per game. Michael only had 2-3, Michael's advantage. 1 offensive rebound per game or more. 13-12, Michael. 1.2 offensive rebounds per game or more. 12-9, Michael. 1.4 offensive rebounds a game or more. 11-4, Michael. 1.6 offensive rebounds per game or more. 8-1, Michael. 1.8 offensive rebounds per game or more. 4-1, Michael, and Michael had 2 seasons of 2 offensive rebounds per game or more. Changes the rebounding argument a fair bit. Let's look at defensive rebounds. Under 4 defensive rebounds a game, 0-3 LeBron. 4 defensive rebounds per game, 15-12 LeBron. 4.5 defensive rebounds per game, 14-12 LeBron. 5 defensive rebounds a game or more, 14-6 LeBron. 5.5 defensive rebounds per game or more. 13-1 LeBron. 6 defensive rebounds per game or more. 11-1 LeBron. Sorry, yeah, 6 defensive rebounds per game or more. 11-1 LeBron. 6.5 defensive rebounds per game or more. 3 zip LeBron, and 7 seasons and 7 defensive rebounds per game or more. LeBron has 1 compared to 0 in favor. Under 6 assists per game. Jordan had 12 seasons. LeBron's only had 1. 6 assists per game or more, 14-3 LeBron. 6.5 assists per game, 11-1 LeBron. 7 assists per game, 9-1 LeBron. 8 assists per game was 3-1 because I believe 7.5 assists was the exact same. So 8 assists per game or more, 3-1 LeBron. 8.5 assists per game, 3-0 LeBron. 9 assists per game or more, 1-0. Let's look at these defensive numbers to give you some perspective on why these other numbers are so high. The effort is only there on one end of the floor. Under 1.5 steals per game, 2 seasons to 1, Michael. 1.5 steals per game or more, 14-13, Michael. 1.75 steals per game or more, 11-4, Michael. 2 steals per game or more, 10-0, Michael. 2.25 steals per game or more, 8-0, Michael. 2.5 steals per game or more, 6-0, Michael. 2.75 steals per game or more, 5-0, Michael. 3 steals per game or more, 1-0, Michael. Seasons under half a block a game, tied at 1-all. And obviously seasons over half a block a game, tied at 14-all. Now, 0.75 blocks a game or more, 9-8, Michael. 1 block per game, 4-3, Michael. 1.5 blocks per game or more, 2-0, Michael. Now, let's look at the turnover numbers. This is where, again, turnovers, better to have less. Under 2.25 turnovers a game. Michael had 3 seasons, Bron had none. 2.25 turnovers a game or more, 12-15, Michael. 2.5 turnovers a game or more, 10-15, Michael. 2.75 turnovers a game or more, 5-15, Michael. 3 turnovers a game or more, 5-15, Michael. Very much similar to 2.75s. I mean, we can count that back if we like. But that's just, again, perspective there. So if that's the same, I will remove that one. It's got to be fair. I removed another one in the previous. So give me a sec. There we go. Just thought we'd be fair. Did delete one to favour Michael earlier, so I have to delete that one. I mean, that's just another perspective. So 2.5 turnovers per game or more, 5-15, Michael. 3.25 turnovers per game, 3-12, Michael. 3.5 turnovers per game or more, 2-6, Michael. 3.75 turnovers per game or more, 0-3, Michael. And seasons over 4 turnovers per game or more, 0-2, Michael. Fouls per game. It's great preferential treatment that Michael got. Will surely kick in here. Under 1.5 fouls a game. LeBron has 1 season. Michael has none. So therefore, seasons of 1.5 fouls or more per game, 15 for LeBron. 1.75 fouls per game or more, 9-15 LeBron. Again, less is more in this category. It also speaks, sort of treatment they get. 2 fouls per game or more, 5-13 LeBron. 2.25 fouls a game or more, 1-11 LeBron. These are all in LeBron's favour, mind you. 5-13 to LeBron's favour for 2 fouls a game. 2.5 fouls a game or more, 0-9 LeBron. 2.75 fouls per game, 0-7 LeBron. 3 fouls per game or more, 0-3 LeBron. 3.25 fouls per game, 0-2 LeBron. And LeBron has no seasons of 3.5 fouls a game. Michael does. Where's the treatment? In a soft era, this guy's not committing fouls. How is that possible? Ridiculous. Field goal makes. Under 8 field goals made a game, LeBron has one season. Jordan never had a season where he averaged less than 8 field goals made. So therefore, 15-4, Michael's favour of 8 field goals a game or more made. 8.5 field goal makes or more. 13-14 LeBron. 9 field goal makes a game. 14-13 LeBron. So that's the same stat. Again, if we're going to be fair, got to delete it. Fix that. $9.5 field goals made per game or more. 13-12 LeBron. Now kicks in a little bit more. 10 field goal makes or more per game. 11-7. 10.5 field goal makes or more. 10-3 Michael for the last two. 11 field goal makes or more. 9-2 Michael. 11.5 field goal makes or more. 7-0 Michael. 12 field goal makes a game or more. 5-0 Michael. 12.5 field goal makes a game or more. 4-0 Michael. 13 field goal makes a game or more. 2-0 Michael. And that's just general field goal shooting, mind you. So again, this selectiveness hasn't always helped him. So let's have a look at 2 points. Under 8, 2-point makes a game or more. Michael never had a season. LeBron's had 2. So 8 2-point makes a game or more. 15-13 Michael. 8.5 2-point makes a game or more. 13-9 Michael. 9 2-point field goal makes or more. 12-4 Michael. 9.5 2-point makes a game or more. 11-2 Michael. 10 2-point makes a game or more. 9-0 Michael. 10.5 2-point makes a game. 7-0 Michael. The same 7 right through until we get to 13 2-point makes a game or more. We have a grand total of 2-0. Now, as we go back through to 3-point shooting, let's have a look. Under 1 3-point make a game or more, 11-2. Now that one goes to LeBron. All these 3-point ones go to LeBron just to preface them. 1 3-point make a game or more, 4-13 LeBron. More's better, obviously. 1.1 3-point make a game or more, 13-3 LeBron. 1.2 3-point makes a game or more, 12-2 LeBron. 1.3 makes per game. 1.3 3-point makes per game or more, 10-2 LeBron. Same with 1.4. So let me just double check. That last one was to LeBron. Just going to go back through. 3 in favour of LeBron. Right. I have to remember that. 1.5 3-point makes per game or more. 8-0 LeBron. 1.6 3-point makes per game or more. 5-0 LeBron. 1.7 3-point makes per game or more. 3-0 LeBron. Now, here we go. Here's the free throw numbers. Now, remember, LeBron got to the line more than Michael. Under 5 free throw makes a game or more. 4-2. Again, LeBron got to the line, had more seasons with less free throw attempts. One has to go to Michael. Can't believe I actually. Sorry, I accidentally labelled that. Accidentally labelled that LeBron. I don't know why. Oh, there we go. So I have to take 4 and add 1 minus 1. Oh, it's even. Just take 4. Okay. Under 5 3-3 makes a game. 2-4 Michael. Now, he had less seasons of less free throw scoring, so that's all right. Seasons of 5 free throw makes a game or more. 13-11, Jordan. 5.5 free throw makes a game or more. 13-9, Jordan. 6 free throw makes a game or more. 11-8. 6.5 free throw makes per game or more. 8-4, Michael. 7 free throw makes a game or more. 6-4, Michael. 7.5 free throw makes a game or more. 4-2, Michael. 8 free throw makes a game or more. 3-0, Michael. 8.5 free throw makes per game or more. Michael, 2-0. 10 free throw makes a game or more. 1-0, Michael. So the score update there, I've got 119, 121, LeBron. But I've recently just given 1 to Michael and haven't taken one. So that keeps him at 119. But having taken 4 off LeBron, that puts him at 117. Oh, no. He's back behind the 8 ball again, old LeBron, which isn't good. So that's totality. That's their scoring, that's their rebounding, that's their assists, and that's their defense. And Michael went from a deficit of 7 to a lead of 2. Made up 9 differences there. We already knew how close it really was. Wasn't at all. Now let's look at their regular season. This is purely comparing accolades made in the regular season. And everyone goes, oh, but it's not about accomplished, it's about greatness. Well, I'll just give you a statistical breakdown of, quote, greatness, and Michael leads 119-117. And when you really study the numbers, it's not close. It's not close at all. A better scorer at their peak and all around, a better rebounder. When you base on the fact that someone chases their rebounds, Michael. Distributor of the ball, despite the fact this guy looks for assists, Michael. Better defender, Michael. Now, efficiency-wise, sure, it goes to LeBron, but he's a hell of a lot more selective as far as scoring is concerned. But, I mean, that's barely the case as far as field goals and, 3 points concerned. Free throw percentage, it's not even close. General ball use, it's not even close. There is no comparison statistically to LeBron James and Michael Jordan. It's not close. Then you look at their peak for peak, it's not close. You look at their consistency over the regular season with their numbers, it's not close. So let's look at the accolades. MVPs 5-4. Remember, this was at the time of 1,072 games. 5 MVPs to 4 MVPs. And everyone will go, oh, but LeBron was in the middle of his 15th season. He'd only played 11 games. Okay, well, then do you want to break it down to 13 seasons where you take out the retirement and you take the first retirement and you take out the injury season of 85-6 for Jordan? Do you want to do that? Because then your numbers look really stupid. The guy would only be 35 games behind and almost be still ahead in everything. Again, still. It's dumb. What Michael did in 13 seasons full, LeBron hasn't done in 14 seasons full. And what Michael did in 11 full seasons just as a bull, LeBron has not done in 14 full seasons as a whole. So MVPs 5-4, Michael. Defensive Player of the Year 1-0, Michael. Both had Rookie of the Year. That's great. All-Star Game MVPs 3-2, Michael. That's back when the All-Star Game was an All-Star Game and they didn't just cherry pick and, muck around like you're shooting around the gym at lunchtime with all your friends at school. All-Star Games 14-13, Michael. All Rookie, they both made the first team. All NBA selections, 13-11 to LeBron. That's fair enough. Played more full seasons. All NBA first team, despite the fact he's played more full seasons, only one more, 11-10. All NBA second team, 2-1, LeBron. Again, expected when you want to look at that. Now let's look at the defensive selections. 9-6, Michael. All defensive first team, 9-5, Michael. All defensive second team, 1-zip to LeBron. But I'll take 9 defensive selections and 9 first team selections over 6 selections, 5-1. Ask Tim Duncan about the NBA Finals. Pretty sure Tim Duncan would rather be 5-0 or 6-0 than 5-1. It's just me. Scoring titles, 10-zip. MVP. Now, here's a big way to break it down. This is the MVP voting, which is ridiculous. 14 times to 13 times. 14-13 MVP voting, LeBron. Top 10 MVP appearance, top 10 MVP voting, 14-11 LeBron. Top 5 in MVP voting, 12-10 LeBron. That's where it stops. So that top 5 in the MVP voting, 10 times for Michael, 10 times top 3 MVP voting, 10-9 LeBron. Top 2 in the MVP voting, 8-6 Michael. Runner-up in MVP voting, 3-2 Michael. At least by the judges, he was one of the 2 best players in the league 8 times, compared to LeBron 6. You want to take out those 2 injury-ridden seasons? Still not close. Just saying. Now let's look at defensive ability, because LeBron should be just as good a defender if he's getting all these things. It's not even close. LeBron's defensive ability tremendously overrated. DPOY voting appearances, 10-9 Michael. Top 10 DPOY voting. Every appearance, 10 times he was. The 10 times he made the DPOY ballot, 10 times he was top 10 DPOY voting. So 10-7 Michael. Top 5 DPOY voting, 7-5. Top 3 DPOY voting, 3-2. Now, granted, LeBron was runner-up to the Defensive Player of the Year twice, and Michael was runner-up once. But I'd take a win and a runner-up than second prize twice. That's just me. Now, let's look at that. Final score is 133-129 in Michael's favour. This includes accolades and statistics over 1,072 games of each player's career. It must be pointed out that there was no bias whatsoever, and in categories in which one player had not made position relative, that were deleted. So there was no point in me sitting there counting right through and going through, where are we looking at? No point in me going 2.75 turnovers per game, which was 5.15 in Michael's favour, and then going, 3 turnovers per game or more, 5.15 Michael's favour, because it's just a useless stat. He's clearly got that lead. That's the same with LeBron. There were plenty of circumstances for LeBron as well, to which, you didn't need to repeat yourself. But again, in all of these comparisons, Michael leads 133-129. When you break down the numbers in totality, he was a better scorer, just as good, if not better, rebounder. Distribution of the ball in totality was lower. At its peak, it was just as good compared to a guy whose teammates have come out and said he looks for the assist pass and not to make an assist. And he's a better defender. Now, efficiency-wise, you can argue the field goal numbers, great. LeBron's field goal numbers, 2-point-wise are good and better. But 3-point-wise, Michael was just as good a 3-point shooter, and at their peak was a better 3-point shooter. And 2-point-wise, LeBron might be putting up, 27 a game. But Michael had the ability to go off and average, over 30. Well, how many times did he do it again? Just go look at the points per game, because it's ridiculous. The fact that people want to try and compare this is ridiculous. 8 times 30 points per game or more, 1 for LeBron. I'll sacrifice field goals for putting points on the board and getting wins. Again, if you want your guy to be grabbing rebounds and you want your guy to be throwing assists, that's great. If you rate Mark Jackson, Dennis Rodman as highly as you should as rebounders and passers, they're in your top 10 all time. Please, it's an absolute joke. Accolades, everyone goes on about, but it's not most accomplished. Guess what? Your accomplishments come from your level of play. And unfortunately, people need to understand that the level of play which LeBron James brings in comparison to the great Michael Jordan is why his accolades fall well and truly short. I mean, let's just remember here, I didn't even put in league leader in minutes. I didn't even put in league leader of steals either. So, I mean, if you want to do that, I can certainly add another 2 points to Michael if you like. That's up to you. So in the summary of my comparison, 2-point scoring and 3-point scoring, 2-point to Michael, 3-point scoring I have to LeBron, but realistically, I can easily give that. I have to give something to LeBron in that category because that's pretty much it. But even then, as I mentioned, as far as taking 3-point shots in bulk, yeah, LeBron James has it. He plays in the 3-point era, but I know who I'd probably take on my team if I needed a 3-point shootout. Free throw scoring, Michael Jordan. Offensive rebounding, Michael Jordan. Now, defensive rebounding as a whole, yeah, LeBron James, he chases them all. But as far as actually wanting to, to do that, then yeah, I'll happily take a defensive rebounding Michael Jordan. As far as passing is concerned, for their total career, yeah, probably give it to LeBron because he looks for the assist pass. Hell, I'm going to change that right now. Bugger that. Don't even consider that. Passing is the great Michael Jordan. I have to give defensive rebounding to LeBron. 3-point scoring, I give to LeBron. He does more of it. Again, Michael didn't choose to shoot the 3-point shot. When he did, he was clearly better at it. Assist to turnover ratio, LeBron's is high, but guess what? When you look for nothing but an assist pass, and which is a miracle, mind you, for the assist to turnover ratio, when you look for the assist pass, that's just how it is. He's better at stealing the ball and on-ball defense. He's better at off-ball and even, shot blocking. Michael's more efficient turnovers-wise. But as far as fouls committed, yeah, LeBron gets a nod. That's great. The MVPs, Michael has more of them. He has more defensive player of the years. He has more scoring titles. He has more All-Star selections. He has more All-Star MVPs. Now, when it comes to All-NBA selections, LeBron does have the first and second selection and All-NBA selections. You have to remember who's played more full years as well. I mean, when your All-NBA second team in your rookie season finished third in scoring, there's a chance you probably would have had a couple more if you'd have played a couple of full seasons, I'm just saying. And then when you retire, come back in 17 games, you then end up being the 11th most valuable player in 17 games. Scary thought. Defensive selections and all defensive first selections go to Michael. Defensive second selections go to LeBron. MVP voting, defensive player of the year voting, peak scoring and peak rebounding, all to Michael. Again, this is where it needs to come into it. Peak assists, yes, it goes to LeBron. Barely. Absolutely barely. By one. Their absolute peak in totality. That's great. But at their peak defensive efforts, it's Michael. Peak fouls, LeBron, guess what? He doesn't get called for them. Peak turnovers, Michael. Free throw shooting, Michael. 2-point shooting, LeBron. Okay, fair enough. But he's more selective with his shots. Again, you've got to be willing to sacrifice numbers to improve your numbers. I'd sacrifice a percentile gain in the 2-point area. I'd willingly shoot about 54% from 2-point land to put up 33, 34 a game. I mean, Michael had a season of 32, 8 and 8, and was the best defender in the league. So imagine putting 35 points per game up, shooting 50%, and leading the league defensively. Michael did that. And then, he backed it up by averaging 32, 8 and 8. LeBron hasn't had a season of 32, 8 and 8, ever. Never get close either. While still being the best defensive player on the court, mind you. Peak 3-point shooting, Michael. Peak offensive rebounding, Michael. Peak defensive rebounding, LeBron. Now let's look at the talent they've faced. As far as All-NBA point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards faced. Michael faced 35 different point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards who made All-NBA selection during his career, while LeBron faced 41. Now, to put it in perspective, they played against 6 players that were the same. Tracy McGrady, Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, and Paul Pierce. They all played against him. Now, top 50 players, LeBron played against 7 of them, and in my humble opinion, those players were Kobe Bryant, Jason Kidd, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, and Kevin Durant. Some can make a case for the likes of, say, a Steph Curry getting in there. Some can make a case for someone like a Derrick Rose getting in there, and maybe a Russell Westbrook at this point. But, I mean, you have to look at how weak the era is that they're playing in as well. Now, when I look at MJ's top 10 talent of all time, I've got Larry Bird. I've got Magic Johnson. I've got Isaiah Thomas. I've got Dominic Wilkins. I've got Clyde Drexler. I've got John Stockton. Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, and Steve Nash. 10-7. And to put in perspective, MJ played against 4 of the 7 top 50 players that Michael played against. Michael played against 4 of the 7 LeBron faced. As far as former, reigning, and future MVP players that each faced, Michael only faced 5. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, and Steve Nash. Meanwhile, LeBron faced 7. Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Derrick Rose, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Steph Curry. 5 MVPs were won. 5 of those MVPs that Michael faced all won an MVP each during his career. So Larry Bird won 84-5, 85-6, and Magic won 3. So that's 5 across 2 players. And of the 5, so they basically average at 1 each. Meanwhile, LeBron facing 7. There were 8 won during LeBron's career. 8 other MVPs won during his career from other All-NBA players. There was Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Derrick Rose, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry. And if I'm not mistaken, 1 to Kobe, 2, 3 to Steve, 2 to Steve Nash, 4, 5, 6, 8. LeBron conceded 8 MVPs to those guys in his career. Michael conceded 5. Now, when we look at the other players, former reigning and future defensive players of the year, Michael faced 3 out of those guys, and Sidney Moncrief, Alvin Robinson, and Gary Payton. And that's just all NBA players, mind you. LeBron faced 1, Kawhi Leonard, the only guy out of all those all NBA small point guard, shooting guards, and small forwards. He only faced 1. That was Kawhi. Now, if we look at this is something that I didn't always want to bring up, but I have, and that's former reigning and future Finals MVPs. Michael faced Paul Pierce, Kobe Bryant, Joe Dumars, James Worthy, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. LeBron faced Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, Tony Parker, Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups, Dwayne Wade, and Kobe Bryant. Now, to put some perspective on it, Paul Pierce won his after Michael retired. Kobe won his after Michael retired. Now, during LeBron's career, Kawhi, Kevin Durant, Tony Parker, Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups, Dwayne Wade, and Kobe Bryant. They all won it during his career. And for a bit more perspective, Kawhi, Durant, and Tony Parker won theirs against him. None of those guys, won Finals MVPs against Michael. None of the guys who I listed who won Finals MVPs in Michael's career won them against Michael. And he faced Magic Johnson and the likes of James Worthy in the NBA Finals, guys who had won them. Just saying. Now, as I go through, just to remember, even though it's 35-41 and there's clearly more people of which were all NBA players, the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward position for LeBron, Michael's first 4 seasons, there are only 2 All-NBA teams selected. So just to give that perspective, that's 6 more over 4 years. When you look at it like that, it's quite plausible that Michael faced the same amount of competition as far as point guard, shooting guard, and small forwards faced. Maybe even more, just saying. Now, let's look at all defensive point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards faced. 28 to Michael and 29 to LeBron. Only one difference. That's all right. Now, former, current, or future Defensive Player of the Year winners faced. Michael faced 5 former, current, or future Defensive Player of the Years. So current is in when he played, or had previously before he started playing or after he played. In Michael Cooper, Sidney Moncrief, Alvin Robinson, Gary Payton, and Ron Artest. Michael, in comparison, LeBron faced Kawhi and Ron Artest. And of all those guys that I list here for the 28 to the 29 players in comparison, Michael played against Ron Artest meaning that as far as unique competition withstanding, Michael faced more unique defensive competition, more unique Premier defensive competition. It's just a fact. Now, let's look at the All-Star selections. This one should be huge, right? Wrong. All-Star point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards faced in their careers. Quite easy. Michael faced 72 players from the point guard, shooting guard, small forward career who are all-stars. Small forward position throughout his career who are all-stars. 72 different unique players. LeBron, 58. He faced 58 different players from the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward position to make the all-star team. Now, everyone's going to argue well, why don't you bring in the bigs? Because LeBron can play the 1 to 5. Well, do I get to bring in Dennis Rodman and Charles Barkley? Some of the guys that guarded Michael at the power forward and center position? No. They're perimeter players. That's how we're doing it. Now, to put it in perspective, Michael and LeBron played against 12 of the same guys in the All-Star game. Those guys being, as we roll off the tongue, the 12 players they both faced. Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Paul Pierce, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson, Baron Davis, Vince Carter, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, Steve Francis, Steve Nash, and Sean Marion. Again, Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Paul Pierce, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson, Baron Davis, Vince Carter, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, Steve Francis, Steve Nash, and Sean Marion. Both players competed against the same 12 guys. This means that Michael Jordan faced over 20% of LeBron's All-Star competition as a wizard. So that means that there are as far as unique talent faced, Michael faced 60 unique All-Stars throughout his career. That's the depth of competition to which he faced, while LeBron has only faced 46. This also means that Michael faced more unique competition at 60 unique individuals of which he played than LeBron did overall at 58. And he faced as many multiple All-Stars as LeBron did unique talent at 46, which I'll get into right here. Multiple-time All-Stars during that time, there were 46 compared to 41. So there were more repeat All-Star players with All-Star caliber ability at the point guard through the 1 to 3 during Michael's career than there were LeBron's. Can someone please work this out? My goodness, 46 to 41. So just remember that for as many multiple All-Stars as Jordan faced, so he faced 46 players who were multiple All-Stars, LeBron faced 46 unique individuals in the All-Star game. There's no depth of talent there whatsoever. And finally, I'll get to the All-Star MVPs. 10 of the 15 All-Star MVPs during Michael's career went to perimeter players, so 66.7% of the time. And if you want to look at it as far as LeBron, 12 of the 15, so 80% of the time, a perimeter player won it in LeBron's career. Now, although this weighs into the favour of deeper talent at the perimeter, it also speaks of how easy it is for perimeter players to play in the era. There is no comparison, absolutely no comparison to Michael Jordan, this guy right here, in the regular season. I'm not even counting the playoffs. To this guy. The only playoff comparison I've made is former, future, or current finals MVPs. It's the only thing I've done. So, again, let's look at it again. Statistically, he doesn't catch him. He's not a better scorer. He's not a better offensive rebounder. And I mean, you can argue peak for peak. He was never a better rebounder. Passing, Michael didn't look for the pass. Still had a season of 1 less assist. How does that work? It's ridiculous. For a guy who searches for assists to be so far ahead like that. That's bullshit. Total 100% bullshit. It's the only way to put it. So statistically, he's a Jordan, better scorer, rebounder, really at their peak. Jordan, person who can actually distribute the ball and make plays and not look for the assist. Passing, Jordan. Defender, Jordan. Scoring efficiency, okay, yeah, I have to give a little bit of credit to LeBron there, but guess what? If you sacrifice a bit of that, you get a hell of a lot of that. Compared to, both of those guys there, I'm going to get to those two on the far bit in a second. But, really? Efficiency with the ball, Michael. Favoritism with the refs, that, he was disadvantaged by the refs when you look at it. More preferential treatment, and he's still not close with the numbers. He wasn't as consistent with the numbers, and he never did it year after year. Look at the accolades. Oh, but it's not about the most accomplished. Oh, it's all about, listen, your level of play and your numbers that you produce and your production is what gets you these accolades. This guy got more accolades because he produced more, night in, night out, season after season, more consistently than this guy. Who knows? That might be a Lakers jersey next year. I'll have to update that. And finally, when you break down the competition they faced, this guy had it harder, a hell of a lot harder than this guy. On a more consistent basis, season after season, he had it a hell of a lot harder than this guy. There's no comparison. At 1,072 games, statistically, accomplishment, statistically superior, more accomplished, and facing deeper and better talent, it's 23 in red. It's Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and it's not even close. Shout out to LeBron. You give it a crack. You weren't close, buddy. Nowhere near. Everyone wants to go, well, then who's next? Well, as far as who's number two to this guy, it's Kareem. Statistically, whether it be scoring, whether it be rebounding, defense, efficiency scoring. For a big guy, his passing was pretty good. For a big guy, his numbers were reasonable. Efficiency-wise, with the ball, accomplishment-wise, this guy. Competition at the center position, power forward position, please, this guy, compared to competition at the small forward and power forward position, especially when you want to break down 3 positions to 2 positions, he's still almost going to get more talent. Oh, well, if he's the next, well, who's been the closest to Jordan? At any point, it's been this guy. As far as peak dominant runs, I'm going to take this out of the regular season. At peak dominant runs, the guy who came close to it was Shaq. And the reason Shaq wasn't there at one point was because this guy was still playing. The most decorated center in NBA Finals history as a Los Angeles Laker is Shaquille O'Neal. Led the most dominant playoff team since 2000. Yes, that's right. I don't include the Golden State Warriors. Since 2000, this guy. It's not close. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not close. The greatest of all time. The greatest before Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And if you want to include high school and college, we don't even probably talk about this guy, that guy, and that guy. It's Kareem. It's permanently Kareem. Second greatest perimeter player of all time? Sure, I'll take LeBron, but I can make a hell of a case for a guy like Larry Bird, whose scoring, rebounding, passing and efficiency was a hell of a lot better than him. Most dominant player since Jordan, and the only guy who deserves a comparison to have been close to Jordan since his retirement, the great Shaquille O'Neal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching what has been an extremely lengthy video. Let me know what you guys think. I'm just going to quickly run through just again so we can look at it. 133 to 129, the final statistical comparison. In the great words of Kenny Smith, let's go home, ladies and gentlemen. Scoring, Michael. Rebounding on the offensive end, Michael. Defensively, yeah, you could probably go to LeBron, but I know who I'm going to take. Passing, as far as being able to distribute the ball and get teammates open and get the looks they need, Michael. They're not wait for them so they get the look and you look good giving the numbers. Defensively, Michael. Shooting percentage, yeah, I probably would have to give it to LeBron, but I know who I'm going to take. I'd rather a guy sacrifice 5 or 6% in his shooting percentage, so he's going to pour in, say, 10 points extra. Free throws, he took less and still made more, as Michael. He's more efficient with the ball. He doesn't turn it over. He doesn't get that preferential treatment. He's just going to keep hacking and hacking and hacking away with it. He's more accomplished. He faced deeper competition. Just quickly, just so you know, I will go through the unique competition here. So all NBA point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards faced. Michael Jordan faced Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Bernard King, Isaiah Thomas, Sidney Moncrief, Dominic Wilkins, Alex English, Alvin Robertson, Fat Lever, Clyde Drexler, John Stockton, Chris Mullin, Kevin Johnson, Mark Pricedale, Ellis James Worthy, Joe Dumas, Tim Hardaway, Drazen Petrovic, Penny Hardaway, Gary Payton, Mitch Richmond, Detlef Schrempf, Reggie Miller, Grant Hill, Glenn Rice, Rod Strickland, Tracy McGrady, Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Paul Pierce, Stephen Marbury, and Jamal Mashburn for the 35 players that made the All-NBA team, first or second or third, the point guard, shooting guard, and small forward position. In comparison to LeBron James, we've got Kobe Bryant, Jason Kidd, Sam Cassell, Tracy McGrady, Peja Stojakovic, Ron Artest, Michael Redd, Baron Davis, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade, Sean Marion, Gilbert Arenas, Chauncey Billups, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, Darren Williams, Manu Ginobili, Paul Pierce, Brandon Roy, Tony Parker, Joe Johnson, Derrick Rose, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Rajon Rondo, Paul George, James Harden, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Goran Dragic, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kawhi Leonard, Cole Lowry, Isaiah Thomas, the other Isaiah, obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jimmy Butler, John Wall, and DeMar DeRozan. Again, 35-41 in LeBron's favour there. As we go through all defensive point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards through the career, MJ had Michael Cooper, Maurice Cheeks, Paul Pressey, Dennis Johnson, T.R. Dunn, Sidney Moncrief, Alvin Robinson, Bill Hanslick, Derek Harper, Rodney McRae, Fat Lever, Joe Dumas, John Stockton. I've got Scottie Pippen there. He was a teammate. I mean, even if I take him out, it's still favourable to Michael. Dan Marley, Michael Williams, John Starks, Gary Payton, Mookie Blaylock, Nate McMillan, Bobby Phillips, Eddie Jones, Jason Kidd, Kobe Bryant, Bruce Bowen, Doug Christie, Ron Artest, Eric Snow. So that would actually take it to 27-29 if I take out Scotty there. As I go back through for LeBron James, Ron Artest, Bruce Bowen, Kobe Bryant, Doug Christie, Jason Kidd, Larry Hughes, who actually was a teammate of LeBron's when he made it. So, I mean, that 28-29 is really not too bad, and it's only going to be 27-28. Dwayne Wade, Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, Raja Bell, Kirk Heinrich, Chris Paul, Shane Battier, Rajon Rondo. There's a name that used to take LeBron's assignments. Shane Battier, Rajon Rondo, Gerald Wallace, Josh Smith, Thabo Sefolosha, Andre Iguodala, Tony Allen, Luol Deng, Paul George, Avery Bradley, Mike Conley, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley, John Wall, Andre Roberson, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then when we look at the all-star talent that they faced, Michael Jordan, Rolando Blackman, Adrian Dantley, Alex English, George Gervin, Magic Johnson, Calvin Nat, Norm Nixon, Larry Bird, Julius Erving, Dennis Johnson, Bernard King, Sid Moncrief, Michael Ray Richardson, Isaiah Thomas, Clyde Drexler, Marcus Johnson, Alvin Robinson, James Worthy, Maurice Cheeks, Jeff Malone, Dominic Wilkins, Mark Aguirre, Walter Davis, Sleepy Floyd, Xavier McDaniel, Fat Lever, Danny Ainge, Doc Rivers, Chris Mullin, Dale Ellis, Mark Jackson, Mark Price, Joe Dumas, Reggie Miller. Jesus, come on. Kevin Johnson, Ricky Pierce, Hershey Hawkins, Tim Hardaway Sr., that is, Terry Porter, John Stockton, Reggie Lewis, Jeff Hornacek, Dan Marley, Sean Elliott, Mitch Richmond, Detlef Schrempf, Grant Elliott, Penny Hardaway, Idana Barros, Cedric Sabonis, Gary Payton, Latrell Sprewell, Glenn Rice, Terrell Brandon, Jason Kidd, Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, Steve Smith, Paul Pierce, Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson, Baron Davis, Vince Carter, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, Steve Francis, Steve Nash, Peja Stojakovic, Wally Zerbiak, Stephen Marbury, Sean Marion, and Jamal Mashburn for the 72 unique All-Stars, or 72 All-Stars Michael faced. In comparison for LeBron, Ray Allen, Kobe Bryant, Sam Cassell, Steve Francis, Andre Kirilenko, Ron Artest, Vince Carter, Baron Davis, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, Tracy McGrady, Paul Pierce, Michael Reed, Manu Ginobili, Rashard Lewis, Sean Marion, Steve Nash, Gilbert Arenas, Grant Hill, Dwayne Wade, Tony Parker, Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton, Carmelo Anthony, Anton Jameson, Caron Butler, Joe Johnson, Chris Paul, Brandon Roy, Danny Granger, Devin Harris, Jameer Nelson, Mo Williams, Darren Williams, Rajon Rondo, Gerald Wallace, Will Oldang, Andre Iguodala, Paul George, Drew Holiday, Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, James Harden, Damian Lillard, DeMar Rosen, John Wall, Klay Thompson, Kyle Korver, Kyle Lowry, Jeff Teague, Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, Kemba Walker, Gordon Hayward, Kevin Durant, and Giannis Antetokounmpo for a total of 72 to 58. A lot of you old school fans will know who I'm talking about. Some of you new school fans probably have no clue and assume that they were just conductors and librarians. But in comparison, there's a deeper amount of talent right there, as I mentioned, than anything LeBron's faced. It's that simple. Guys, that's been me. That's the definitive comparison of these two guys in the regular season. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button. This video has been a long time in the waiting. I've been meaning to knock it over, and I've finally done it. So, yeah, cheers for that. Hit like, hit subscribe. Hopefully more content coming in the week or so that I catch up with this stuff. Hopefully caught up by next Thursday when I head to Sydney for about a week. Then I can get back into it from there. Yeah, again, thank you very much for watching. You want more conversation out of this, you want to see where this can go, hit me up on Twitter, Justin_G_Brian. Always talking hoops and sport, anything, political in particular that I like. So, yeah, check me out on that. And again, use this as a reference, man. You want the document, hit me up on Twitter, inbox me. I can send the document through to you. I still got a bit more than I'll work on it for it as well, just for like multiple players who received multiple accolades during the time. But in general, again, thank you very much for watching. This has been the 1,072 game comparison between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And as you can see, when you compare statistics, when you compare accolades, and when you compare competition, there ain't no comparison. And just remember, I didn't even throw in the fact that LeBron's 3-5 in the finals and Jordan's 6-0, and he, faced more Hall of Fame leaders than LeBron did. So, yeah, I just throw a little barb in there. I mean, for everyone who goes, but 8 finals appearances is better than 6, that's great. You don't go to the NBA finals to participate. Thank you very much for watching. Again, check it out. Recommend to a friend if you need it as backup. That's fine. But yeah, this has been my Michael Jordan, LeBron James comparison of 1,072 games. And I'll check you guys later in the week with some more up-to-date NBA action.